It doesn't feel like 20 years, does it?
My name's not on that memorial. I'm glad it's not.
When you're looking at that memorial, is that what you're thinking about?
Oh yeah. My name could have been on there.
It never leaves you. It becomes a part of who you are. It's a very strong experience that shapes you.
If what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, there are no better examples than Andy Charby
Most of us were young, in our 20s.
and Hannabeth Luke.
I just love Bali. I love the Balinese. It's in my heart and my soul.
20 years ago, Hannabeth was sharing that love of Bali with her boyfriend, Mark Gajardo.
The 12th of October was an absolutely magical day.
They'd spent the morning riding waves, and that night ended up at the Sari Club in Kuta, dancing with friends.
I always remember the moments before it happened. All of those moments and the tiny decisions that made the difference between life and death.
Have you ever known or understood why it is that you were not killed?
Oh yeah, I know why. I was dancing. We had our knees bent and we were dancing low. So we were about this far below everybody else when that thing went off. I mean, what are the chances?
Andy was also in the Sari Club with a few mates. He was celebrating his recovery from a serious motorbike accident a year earlier. He bumped into an old friend, Jodie Kearns.
She told me she'd been travelling the world. She was on her way home for Australia. I said, great, I'm going to grab a drink. I'll come and see you down the front of the club. It's my last memory. It's my last time I ever saw her.
It's huge, it's scary. People are burnt everywhere.
Hannabeth desperately searched the burning rubble for her boyfriend.
I was just trying to find Mark. And when I found Tom Singer there, I did exactly what I would hope anyone would do for Mark. You know, I just pulled him up, yoinked him over my shoulder, and we used our strength together to get clear of the flames. And a photo was taken of me at that moment.
The image of her pulling a stranger from the inferno was splashed across front pages around the world.
You were dubbed the Angel of Bali by the media. Sometimes those labels can end up carrying a lot.
I'm actually grateful that that photo was taken because it does create an anchor for me to that event.
Andy's memory of that event is as vivid today as it was 20 years ago.
I look around and there's two girls next to me. They're like a flame tree, they're on fire, their clothes are on fire. And then I'm looking down at my limbs and my left leg's at right angle. My toes are blown off. I actually verbalised that my foot's blown off, my leg's blown off.
Who were you saying that to?
To myself.
In the dreadful hours that followed, Andy lost hope.
I took my tourniquets off and refused all medical assistance and pushing them away, and not proud of that, but I didn't want to live. And I said, I don't think I'm going to make it. Tell my family that I don't think I'm going to make it, and tell my little boy I love him, but yeah, I made it through.
Can you pinpoint what it was that turned you in the positive direction?
Yeah, I can. It was my mother getting to Darwin.
Andy had been airlifted to Darwin, where his mum, Margaret, who was a nurse, realised gangrene had set in.
Instant action, surgeons come in, and then I'm straight into theatre that night.
His left leg was amputated just above the knee. He also lost part of his right foot. In all, he's had 14 surgeries, the most recent in April.
The knee joint talks to the ankle joint.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's a Porsche of legs, Hamish.
While time might eventually heal Andy's injuries, 3 years after the bombing, the fallout claimed another life.
My mother was affected by Bali. She also had depressional issues as well, and yeah, in 2004 my mother suicided. Yeah, and she put herself to sleep. I wish I had an opportunity to save my mum's life the way she saved mine.
Hannabeth's boyfriend, Mark, was killed in the blast. And a month after the bombing, Tom Singer, the man she helped out of the club, died from his injuries.
Let's hear from Hannabeth Luke. Her boyfriend was killed in Indonesia.
A year later, Hannabeth was using her profile as the Angel of Bali to protest the war in Iraq.
Mr. Blair, I've come from Australia to show you this photograph of Mark Gajardo and myself.
She feared the invasion of Iraq would only provoke more acts of terror.
Until we start asking these people why they hate us so much,
We are not going to find out the causes of why this is occurring.
We didn't go easy on Blair. We really tried to stop that war. But we failed, and that was hard.
The disappointment drove Hannah-Beth to a place she'd always found peace. She went chasing big waves.
It was a huge source of healing for me. I was so lucky to be alive, so every day was a bonus. I was fearless, reckless,
Yeah.
same thing.
A lot of people would look at you and say, look, this woman's just survived something terrible. Why is she running towards more danger?
It made me feel so alive.
Another part of her healing process has been to forgive the bombers.
It helped me.
Andy had also learned to forgive by the time he met one of the Bali terrorists, weapons trainer Nasir Abbas, who'd cooperated with police.
He walks out, I'm in shorts, and I said, "You've blown my leg off my foot, you've killed my friends." You know, he apologised, he broke down and cried during the conversation.
I've met him. He believes in this idea that you can rehabilitate terrorists. Do you believe that?
No, far from it.
Andy's opposed to the pending release of Bali bomb maker Umar Patek, but these days he's not wasting time on vengeance.
I've only got another 30 years on this life. I'm going to make the most of it, so I'm not going to spend it being angry and twisted.
Andy runs a successful security firm and spends as much time outdoors as he can.
I enjoy my scuba diving, my boating, fishing, motorbike riding. Geez, I might as well promote myself. I'm single, I might even get married.
Well, you've got a Bali trip coming up.
It's like amputee wants a wife.
10 years ago, Hannah-Beth found love again. She and her husband, Kieran, have 2 kids, Tristan and Connie.
Have you a whale? Yep, that's a whale.
She's a lecturer at Southern Cross University and ran for federal parliament as a Teal independent. Among her rituals this time of year is taking Mark's surfboard into the waves.
I love the ocean. It is the best.
Certainly huge feelings and emotions this year. But I have to admit, I'll be a little happy when the 12th of October is behind us.
Such an incredible thing that they went through, and then all those years of healing. And interesting how they say that they're looking forward to this moment to put it behind them. You know, that moment of, not that you can ever have closure from something like this, but just something that marks that to move on, because it's been such a huge part of their life since it happened.
I asked Hannah-Beth why she was in the process of making the decision to go to Bali when we sat down with her a few weeks ago. And I asked her why she wanted to go. And she said, I want to see how they're all doing. And I said to her, you know that photo from that night, you were shepherding one of them. Is that what you're still doing? And that was the only point in the whole time we spent with her where she said, I think I need a glass of water.
Oh.